Oh, do you remember the days of the old schoolyard? We used to laugh a lot back in the days of the old schoolyard. If you remember that song, comment down below. And I do apologise for the rubbish singing. No, actually I don't. I don't apologise at all because it is my channel. Hi, I'm Gabby and welcome back to another edition of the Fragrantician, where here on this channel we talk about nothing but fragrances, whether it be vintage, old, new, classic, modern, vintage, timeless, classic fragrances is what we are all about, with some new. So if you like that, that's your jam, then stick around. In today's edition we are talking about 1980s fragrances, the 80s. When we had Fame, when we had Dallas, Dynasty, old school classics like Grange Hill. 1983 was the best year. If you remember Grange Hill and you're in the UK, comment down below, because that was my favourite TV programme ever from children's TV shows. It was about a British school in the 1980s, a British comprehensive school in North London, I think, or South London, I can't remember where. And it depicted 11 to 18-year-olds who were just living their life in the 1980s. And as you know, I was born very early 70s. So in 1983, I was about 12 years old. 84, 12 years old. So Grange Hill was my jam and I absolutely loved it. And there we go. So if you remember that show, comment down below. First fragrance I'm going to talk about the 1980s. And it is a huge fragrance. And it is none other than Anais by Cacharel. Now this did come out in the late 70s, around about 1979. But if you want a bombastic, spicy floral, this was your go-to. It literally was. I'm going to spray a little bit. Wow, yes, you get that hyacinth in there, that purple floral. This is a vintage bottle I have. First formula from 1979. Yes. So it's over 40 years old I have this bottle. And this is just, it's a gothic floral. It's Enchanted Fairies, Gothic Fairyland florals. It's hyacinth, it's white florals, it's, dare I say, a little bit screechy, but I like that. And it's green as well, aromatic. This was the craze. 1980-ish, it was the big craze. Early 80s, even into the late 80s. Everybody was wearing this. Love it. Anais. Light it, put a match to it, whoosh. There we go. Whoosh indeed. We're talking about, in chronological order, is Ysatis by Givenchy. And this came out in 1984. This is an opulent floral spicy fragrance. Floral spicy fragrances were the jam then. They were. There was, before Angel, which came in 92, there was nothing gourmand out there. Absolutely nothing. It was your chypre florals, your aromatics, your fresh, your woody fragrance. Well, when I say fresh, strong fresh, woody fragrances. Those were the fragrances that your aromatic woody fragrances, your mossy fragrances, those were the fragrances that were abundant, and this was one of them. This is not for the faint-hearted. This is a later formula, but it has, does it have some yellow florals in there as well? It has some brightness in there as well, which is really lovely. But no, it's absolutely beautiful. And I have to say that the atomizer, you can see quite a bit. I don't really know how old this bottle is. I've had it about 10 years now. So maybe it's a formulated but not now formulated formula. I don't know, but it's strong, bold, audacious. It's very strong. I would say this is even stronger than organza. That's how strong this fragrance is. It will shake the room. Boom, 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 shake the room. Sorry, I had that song in my head. That's 90s, that is. But anyway, Ysatis by Givenchy. Pure bomb. Talk about the 1980s. If I couldn't talk about Poison. Wow, this dark purple burgundy berry juice. I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but we all know Poison. We've all worn it at some point, or we've either smelt it on somebody else at some point in the 80s, 90s, even now. It is bombastic, berries, boozy, incense, opopanax, coriander, tuberose. Strong to the max, absolutely strong to the max. I'd love to get my hands on an extrait de parfum, which came in a little 15ml bottle. And I know it's not a spray, it is a dabber, but boy is that strong. You put just 2 or 3 dabs of that on and it is nuclear, if I remember. Really, really nuclear. There is an extrait de parfum you can get today, which apparently resembles the closest to the original Poison. Now this formula, I checked the batch code, is from 2006. So it is a reformulated version, but it is a pre-reformulated version before 2011, when there was a big haul and Dior was then reformulated because it doesn't have the CD logo on top as well. So this does perform really, really well. I don't know what the new formula smells like now. So I have like a middle reformulated version, but I adore it. It's just stunning. It's gothic, dark, deep. It's 80s. It's that red lip, that bold lip. Who remembers Robert Palmer, is it? And those girls with the guitars, their hair slicked back, bold eye makeup, red lips. This is that. This is that. You know, 85, 86, you know, that film, Letter to Brezhnev, when that came out. It was that era. The best era, the best. Bittersweet for me, but still fond memories. Dior Poison, the OG. 1987, I do believe, and this is Loulou, again by Cacharel. It is, it's a bold, spicy fragrance. If you love Poison, you'll love Loulou. But I think this is heavier on those. This is a pre-reformulated version. This is from 1990. This is the first formula and that I have here on the batch code. But this is, everybody was wearing Loulou. It was so dark and deep. I think today's formula has more of that sharp smokiness. This doesn't. This is more rounded. This is heavy, but it's more blend. It's better blended. It feels better. It's full bodied. It's like when I spoke about Angel. The version today is a bit more screechier on the patchouli, not so edible. Where this is. It has those florals and it has the spices in there and it has the incense in there. It is a stunning fragrance that not many people can, well, a lot of people could carry off, but not everybody can carry this off. I carry this off because that's my personality. So if you're strong, bold and audacious and you remember the 80s, you remember Loulou. Who was she? She was everybody. We come to a big gun. This came out, I do believe, in 1988. Obsession. Now this. Actually, I really do like it. I try and say to myself, I don't like it. But actually, oh, it's so strong. I really do. This is this is a modern day formula. Maybe I should get a pre-reformulated version just to compare the two, because you can still get it readily on the internet. Do you know what? I'm going to spray this on my skin. I want to see what this is like. Yes, it is. Has it got coriander in it? Oh, it's spicy. It opens up with such presence, and that presence is there. You can't get away from wearing Obsession. Even if you sprayed just 2 sprays of this, you could fill a room potentially. Lovely. I think I need to hunt a first formula of this. My husband, this fragrance, DKNY, which is completely different, the big tall one, and also the other fragrance he loves is Dahlia Noir by Givenchy. Those 3 fragrances he adores on me. Those are his all. Maybe I should do a video on my husband's fragrances that he really loves on me. But this is one of them. This is probably number 2, maybe even number 1. I don't know actually, maybe Dahlia Noir is number 1. This might be number 2. But yeah, it's bold, it's big. In the late 80s, you know, 88, 89, I mean, I was about 17 at the time. I was, yeah. I didn't wear this when it first came out, I have to say. I didn't wear this till a lot later, in the mid to late 90s, when it was still really popular then. And it was one of the fragrances I met when I met my husband, 99. I was wearing this then, that first formula, and he loved it. It drives him crazy. Obsession. I'm his obsession. For just a handful of the fragrances that I want to talk about, those big 1980s fragrances, I could have doubled it, but I didn't want to make it too long. Because you know me, I don't like making long videos. So, what are your 80s fragrances you remember? What do you remember of the 1980s? Do you remember the big shoulder pads? Do you remember the rah-rah skirts? Were you one of those girls that wore those knee-high white white socks to school? We did here in the UK. Did you ever wear those little antler things? What favourite food did you have in the 80s when prawn cocktails were all the rage and chicken tikka masala came into its own in the 80s, and everybody just loved Kylie and Jason. You've been watching another edition of The Fragrantician. Remember, it's good to feel nostalgic, but don't get melancholic. See you in the next edition.